Hi everyone, I'm Maliha Cox, and today I'm doing a case study interview with one of my clients, Lynda, who's just taken my alignment course as a 4-month group coaching program. So she's here with us today and she's going to be speaking to us about it and sharing her experience. Hi Lynda.
Hi, Maliha. This has been an amazing 4 months.
Oh,
Thank
I'm
you
so
so
glad.
much for this.
You're welcome.
It's been amazing.
You're welcome. As I've said from the beginning, I knew that we were all brought together for a reason. Yes, I can't think, as I told you last time, you're a star student. You really are. You have taken this experience and made the most of it. Every single week you came with questions and you really integrated the material in such a beautiful way. I wish everyone took it as well as you did and made the most of it just like you do. And so I can't wait for you to share your experience with everyone. I have a few questions that I've prepared to give anybody out there who's considering going through this process an idea of what it's like and to get your perspective, what it's meant for you. So my first question is, which I know the answer to this, but I would love for you to share about it. Are you happy to have taken this course and to have had this experience?
I am so happy to have taken this course. This has been a fantastic experience. Yes. Not only was each week, so all the lessons, they were fantastic, but honestly, the coaching calls were the highlight of my week. You know, they were transformative every time when we would apply the things that we're learning, and the way that you are able to notice things and ask the kind of questions that go so deep, you know, deeper than I would have thought to go with myself. You know, like when you question your own thoughts, you kind of figure you're going deep enough. Oh no. Lee has questions. It's like, whoa. Yeah, it takes it to a whole new level. It's this whole other world underneath the things that I kind of realize I get away with myself all the time. You know, you're able to look even deeper, which has been amazing. So I love the coaching calls the most, and yet they are built on top of the incredible lessons, you know, and that's just so full. The videos and the transcript of the videos, and then we've got the assignments through the week with assignments every day, and it just feels like we're really thorough and held, you know, like you really got us. So I've loved it.
Oh, I love how you said that you feel held. And yes, it is meant to be fully immersive. I'm glad you felt that you had support throughout the way. Thank you so much. You've taught me as well, you know, you sharing with me how much being in the group container brought an even deeper level of understanding in hearing, you know, even Shari's experiences and her questions and hearing my answers to those, and how that helped you beyond what you were coming to me for help for. That was profound for me. So
yes, it added a whole other perspective and a whole other way for me to even look at my own stuff that was coming up, you know, because it would be on a similar type of plane, a type of lessons or type of things that we're working through, but to see it from a completely different perspective, it really did add a whole other layer, you know,
yeah,
us
that's a good
as
way to
students.
put it. Yeah, another layer. And I like what you said about that it was similar, because quite often people resonating on a similar frequency are brought together in the same time and place to kind of share in something together. So yeah, I do feel like you guys were learning similar lessons as you went along. So I concur. Okay, so what are a few of the main ways that this course has changed you for the better?
I feel more centered now.
Okay.
That was something that I've been wanting for a really long time. Just sort of, I had been feeling like everybody else knew the right answers for me, everybody else is the one to find out, how to do things, what choices to make. And in the end, I feel more aligned with what I really want, and that it's okay. And in fact, it's better to choose things that I really want, not just what everybody else thinks is best. So that's been huge. Another thing has been the drama of people around me in life has gotten quieter. So I can be in similar situations, but it's got like a softness to it. I can actually hear my own intuitive guidance more because they're not so loud. And it wasn't them that changed. It wasn't all the people in my life that changed. It was me realizing that, oh, wow, they're doing things because it's about them. That was a big lesson I learned here. It's not about me. People's reaction to me is theirs, even if say I make a mistake and it affects that other person and they're angry about it. Their choice to be angry, I've learned, is not my fault. Whereas prior to this, I automatically took it all on, all the hard feelings, the pain, like, oh, and then I would go to the things that we all struggle with, like, I'm not worthy.
Right.
But actually, it's not about that at all. Of course, you were worthy all along. We all try things. We all make mistakes. And by the way, the opposite of that is to be on the flip side of that now. I feel that forgiveness comes a lot easier because I'm not held to a ridiculous standard anymore by myself to have to please everybody around me. And therefore, I extend that to the other people around me. Now, they don't have to work so hard to please me either. There's a lot more just peace and acceptance about me now.
That's amazing. And I love that you said the word acceptance, because as you're sharing this with me, of course, I remember also through our calls, but that's what I was thinking is acceptance. And expectations can have a way of ruining relationships, the relationship with ourselves and the ones that we have in our family, our friends, even with work. So I love that you were able to release some of that and that it's caused so much of the drama to go away. And how you described it as feeling softer. The noise from outside influences is now softer when you encounter it so that you can hear your intuitive guidance. That's one of the major purposes of this course, is to get you in tune with yourself, your wants, your desires. And yes, it's kind of like flipping the switch, as you said, turning that light on to where your intuitive guidance has a way to break through. I love that. I love how you said all of that. And I love that you experienced that change too, because so many people struggle with that. They struggle with drama in their lives, in their relationships, and they have expectations of themselves and other people, and they're constantly disappointed because they're not viewing it from a place of connection to self, self-awareness, etc.
And it covers all areas of my life. So I'm noticing it in my business choices. I'm noticing it in all my relationships, friendships, home relationships, and even I've had to deal with a lot of phone calls handling business related type things, and it even helps with all of that circumstantial stuff.
Okay, those were actually
not even personal.
Yeah, those are actually my next two questions is, specifically going through the material on self-awareness, those exercises. What would you like to share about how that's improved your relationships? The self-awareness bit, how has that helped?
I think I am less reactive.
Okay.
And I can observe other people's behaviors more than I did before, instead of just, you see it and immediately react. But now I'm able to kind of notice it happening. If it happens fast, sometimes I'm at least even noticing that. If I am reacting, I'm even observing that. And then I can go, whoa, 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 step back, and then take another look and say, is there something here that I can learn? Is there something here that is for me? There's usually some lesson in there. And the first one is just to just kind of pull back a little bit and take that bird's eye view that you taught us.
Yeah.
So that's super helpful to be able to just not be so caught up in the tensions or the dramas or the circumstances, and actually go, whoa, whoa, whoa. This is all bigger than that. The bigger picture does actually make everything softer in general.
Okay.
Less chance to react, react like out of control react,
Right.
but actually take action that makes things better.
Yeah.
Instead of feeling like everybody else has power over me. That's not fun. Reacting is a very controlled feeling. You feel so controlled by everybody. And actually it's because I've given up my power to them. They didn't even want it. They didn't want it. That's another thing I'm noticing. The reactions to my family members, because they're able to talk to me about what they're seeing.
Yeah.
And they're noticing that I'm a better listener, that I don't jump to conclusions, that I don't react so quickly, that I'm just easier to be around for them because I'm more aligned with me. They don't need to be different for me to be okay. That's huge.
That's massive.
Yeah.
That's amazing. That's amazing. You have such a lovely way of explaining things. I'm so glad we're doing this. And thank you for sharing all of this that you are, because that's something that most people go through is drama, especially with the people that are close to them. And they don't know why. They don't particularly enjoy it. But then, like you said, something stressful is happening, then it's quick. Usually it's a quick reaction. And then it just adds fuel to the fire. And then it's like back and forth and back and forth. And nobody really enjoys arguing, right? But sometimes people can't see a way out of it. Well, this is the way out of it. Self-awareness, mindfulness. I'm so glad that you've got this deeper mindfulness and awareness. And your family's complimenting you on listening and being easier to be around. I have a suspicion that you are already easy to be around, but you're a very thoughtful person. But I'm so glad that that's the feedback that you're receiving. So
thank you.
In regards to, you touched on it for a moment, but how has working on alignment, how has that affected how you're now going to move forward with your business?
With my business, I was definitely caught up in asking everybody else's opinion and terrified to make a mistake. And I think the biggest lesson that I've learned has to do with something that's come out of kind of after I took the whole course this past week. Things sort of bubbled up and I had a huge aha that here's an example. I'll just jump into this.
Okay.
When my child was 6 years old, he was doing a book of mazes with a pencil.
Okay.
And I watched how he did it, and it was very different than me.
Yeah.
He'd choose a path and he'd reach a dead end and he'd draw backwards across his, loosely, squiggly lines, back out, and he'd try a different path. Then he'd back out and try a different path and had no fear about which path. I was like, what? Honey, no, that's not how you do it. I actually was trying to correct him at first. Just kind of look ahead and try to figure out the best possible path. Well, it turns out that was the lesson many years later that I needed. He was showing me way back then that no, you try something and then see how it goes, and you learn from it, and then you change directions proudly, boldly, with the pencil still on the paper, show your tracks right back out of it, no problem. And now try another thing, and eventually, haha, this one worked, and you are thrilled. You didn't have to hem and haw and stand at the crossroads afraid to make a choice.
Yes.
But that has been my MO throughout all of my business learning. It's just not trusting myself, standing at the crossroads, terrified to make a mistake, not believing that it's okay for me to go the wrong direction, and then have the humiliation, this is what I believed,
Right.
the humiliation of having to change my mind and disappoint everybody. That's what I believed also.
Yeah.
And then backtrack out of that path of the maze and then try something else.
Yeah.
I didn't believe that I had that freedom.
Yeah.
I did learn from my child very soon, because, you know, as I was having that conversation with him, he straightened me out. Oh no, mommy, it's okay. I don't mind. You know, like, I don't mind having those extra lines on there. This is fun. I feel like I'm driving my pencil, because he loves little Hot Wheels and stuff. I'm driving my pencil in and out of these places. Like, so I wish I had gotten it then, but you really helped tie that all together. And that came up through all of this, that I now have a new way to look at everything. We talked a lot about templates in our last session, the last module, and I now have a new template to look at decision making when I'm standing at a crossroads. And it happens all day long. I've noticed the past few days. You know, what thing do I buy at the store? It could be toothpaste. You know, well, which one? There's so many to choose from. What if I choose the wrong one? And then I have to read everything and ask everybody's opinion, and that's ridiculous. It's about everything. Just no, let's just play and try things, and then have do-overs all over the place. Yep, you get to have do-overs, as many as you want. You get to have restarts, as many as you want. So I've just felt so free the last few days. So that's just a big, huge bonus. It's almost like this tidal wave building up underneath the ocean, coming up throughout the whole course. And it's like, freedom.
Yes. As you're talking, that's what I keep hearing is freedom, freedom. And you've brought this sense of playfulness now to your business.
Yeah.
And you know, it's like you can see, we were talking about all the different possibilities you have now, and you can discern between, okay, these were the ones that I was taught, but they don't feel so good. Here's the ones that I'm interested in, and those feel fun and light, and I want to try them out and see how they go. And, you know, before you thought you had to do it the way you were taught. And then you told me every time I sit down to do it that way, it just doesn't feel good. And then you said, and I said, well, what do you want to do? And then you gave me a few options, and I'm like, okay, well, why don't you do that? And you were like, really? I can't. And
Can I?
Yeah. And it's like this sense of, you know, kind of like stepping into the realm of possibility. So your whole energy changed just now. You know, you got uplifted, and, you know, I could see the imaginary weight falling off that you've already shed. And basically that's what I'm getting from what you're telling me right now is freedom and playfulness, and just the opportunity to see what happens, see what works, see what you like. So I love that. Thank you so much. And I'm so glad that that's one of the things that you got out of this course, because sometimes when we take the advice of others in business, we end up wasting time. Well, not wasting time, but we end up going down a path that doesn't feel good for longer than we'd like. And I'm glad that you're not going to have to go through that now.
Yay.
Yay. I know. I wish I had like the little emoji with the little congratulations. I don't know what it's called. The little birthday thing. All right. What are some of the tools and techniques the course has given you that are going to be beneficial for you personally long-term?
There were so many. There were so many great techniques. Oh my gosh. Looking for the lesson in all of my circumstances and in all of my interactions that are challenging. That's huge. So it's making me actually start to be grateful for challenging situations. So that's new, you know. So I'm, you know, dealing with a frustrating situation on the phone or something, and I can actually say, huh, you know, maybe this is something that you know, there's a lesson in here. What could the lesson be? And then it takes me back a little bit, and I'm much more calm and allowing things to just unfold instead of, again, reacting. So yeah, looking for the lesson is huge. We did visualization of our like a vision board of our lives and what we want, and worked on action plans. And I was able to foresee a lot of different things that I wanted in my life. And it's funny that one of them was a cruise. And since then I booked a cruise, but because of current situations with viruses, my family doesn't want to go now. So we're going to have to postpone it, but I still had it on my vision board and it's currently booked. So there was that. But also just sort of things, all the different areas of my life. It feels like I've taken gentle little baby steps towards those things. So that's super fun. The bird's eye view of looking at my circumstances, you know, just sort of rising above it and looking down at all of it while it's happening, definitely helps take me out of the sort of the intensity of a situation.
Yep.
And that's been amazing. Recently, the light bubble. So for the empathic times where you're gathering in so much of other people's energy and you need a way to protect yourself, I never knew of a way to protect myself from that. And the light bubble technique, where, you know, just light coming in and you create this bubble of protection around you, of light streaming out, it just felt like, okay, I'm okay. In a way, it reminded me, I used to be a preschool teacher a long, long time ago. And I remember learning that with children and their fears, say they're afraid that monsters are going to be in their room or something.
Yeah.
And if you want to give them it's an imaginary monster. So you give them an imaginary raid or spray or something to kill it, you know?
Yeah.
And just practice it. So I remember doing that with little kids sometimes when they talk about that. And I said, hey, you know what you can do?
Yeah.
Here's a special spray.
Yeah.
And that's the kind of thing. It's like meeting it where it's at. I used to meet it with mental stuff. You know, if you meet it with just your head, your mind, all the energy coming at you, it's not hitting it where it lives.
Right.
This energetically, all this stuff just kept coming, and then I'm trying to rationalize stuff and, you know, try to get myself to see it differently. But that's different. So when it comes to all that coming at me now, I have, now I actually have an energetic invitation of light and love pressing on out, supporting me every which way, going out. And that creates my boundaries, an actual energetic boundary that matches the situation. So that's been huge. Love that very much. And there's another I wanted to mention. When I have frantic energy, it's literally, it's kind of like that other thing of looking for the lesson, but it's like, I guess that's more of an example of when you're super stressed out. What is this stressed out feeling trying to do for me? That was a whole new thought for me. Wait a minute. You know, I think I'm judging it as bad. Don't have frantic energy, don't have stress, but turning it on its head all of a sudden and saying, wait a minute, this is a reaction. Let's assume that there's nothing to be judged, that it's not wrong. Let's just take a look at it and actually say, wait a second, what is this stress or frantic energy trying to do for me?
Mm-hmm.
What? So all of a sudden, stress is interesting to me, and in a different way. It could be my friend, like, what are you trying to do? What are you doing for me? And maybe I don't have to let it do the job all by itself. Maybe I can actually help solve the real problem. Instead of being mad at myself for my stress, I can go, what are you trying to do for me? Oh, you might be trying to tell me that I'm taking on too much right now. You might be trying to tell me, whatever it is. And then I can actually take action and make a difference instead of just having it and being mad at myself for having, a bad attitude or the negative energy or whatever it is that circumstances might be creating in me. It's my reaction to those. So that's been huge. Just what is it trying to do for me?
Oh my gosh. Yes. And that's exactly why I said that I wish everyone could take this sort of perspective as they go through it, because you really got deep with yourself and you managed to reframe everything in your life that seemed negative and turn it into something that was teaching you something, which is what I've been trying to do all along. So you really took all the concepts in all the modules and all the exercises and went as deep as you possibly could go with them. And now you have these tools to take with you for your whole life.
Yeah.
So most people, what they'll do with something like stress or anxiety is they'll stuff it down. They'll cover it up. They'll try to do something to distract themselves. And that's never the answer, because it's not going anywhere. It has to be looked at. So thank you for that fearless approach you took in saying, hey, I can look at this. I'm not afraid of you. I'm not going to try to get rid of you or stuff you down or shove you to the side. I'm going to look at you and look at you calmly. I don't need to freak out about you. It's okay that you're there, and I'm going to find out why, and I'm going to move through it.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
And that thing, like, there's nothing to fear but fear itself.
Yes.
That keeps coming up in my head because as I'm applying this, I'm seeing that, oh my goodness, the fear of those negative feelings was the real problem.
Yes.
That's what I'm seeing. That once I remove that fear and say, oh, no, it's okay. You're welcome here. I want to learn from you. Tell me more. Tell me about this stress. Tell me about this terrible feeling that makes you want to go eat something to numb it out, or jump into a screen situation so you can be distracted. It's like, instead I'm saying, whoa. Before we go do any of that, come here. Tell me what's going on, to myself, what is happening here that needs some love. I'm gonna hold some space for you. I'm just gonna listen. And that's been really big. I'm not afraid of it when I do that. And so now removing the fear of it and actually saying, you can stay, come pull up a chair, tell me all about it. We'll have coffee. And now I can actually kind of listen to that part of me that wasn't all that terrible anyway. It's almost like it all got a bad rap my whole life.
Yeah. And a lot of
those
people,
bad feelings weren't bad.
Yeah.
They were challenging, and they needed to be loved and looked at. Like module 4 was really hard for me because I felt like it was it actually was like opening the can of all kinds of stuff that was like really asking super deep questions that didn't feel good. Like I was thrilled to get to module 5 because that was like, oh, thank goodness, like all that really tough stuff. Like we were opening things up and looking at really challenging, deep stuff, the kind of questions that I asked myself. And you weren't asking me to tell you all those. You were saying, ask yourself this. Then you weren't even saying to like judge those and fix anything. You weren't saying to fix anything. You were just like, ask yourself these questions and just sort of be with that, and see what comes up for you. And so as I was like going through the lessons and the questions just felt like, oh, I don't want to share this stuff with myself. I don't want to look at how I might feel about this, that, or the other.
It's very common.
Oh, it was tough.
That's why people stay stuck. because they won't look at what they're afraid of. So they remain afraid of it. So I know it was challenging, but wasn't it great to get to the other side of it? Because then it doesn't have a hold on you anymore, right?
Exactly. I couldn't have had the huge freedom of module 5 if I hadn't have gone through that and really, but also I needed the other modules leading up to feel like I had the tools to deal with that.
Yeah.
You know, like I was prepared to be able to actually go, okay, what do I really think of that? Or how do I react to this or that? And how, you know, all the different things that would come up. And I was able to not judge myself. You know, you prepared us in advance for that.
Yeah.
And just go, it's okay. It's safe to look at these things now. They're not to tell you that you're unworthy or anything. It's actually just a human experience. And let's just get real and see where we're at. We're just going to take a safe look at it. And that's huge. You know, I've never been so well prepared to go through something so difficult.
Thank you.
Then got to see the other side and go, yay.
That's actually something that I haven't considered about this course. I mean, I did when I created each module, I knew which steps needed to come in what order, but you actually phrasing it that way and saying that 1, 2, and 3 really prepare you for 4 and 5. I'm glad that I created something that makes you feel safe as you go deeper and deeper into yourself.
And it's not just safe with someone else, because these questions, most of the work was to myself.
Yeah.
It was feeling safe within myself, because we can be so hard on ourselves.
Yes.
You know? And these same questions, if they were asked right at the beginning, you know, if I was playing around with that in my head, I would have had preconceived notions of good and bad judgment about myself. But we had reached the point where no, judgment isn't at all a thing. It's not necessary at all. We're just noticing and you know, holding loving space for it and learning from it. That was probably the biggest thing.
That's awesome, especially because we live in a society that is very judgmental, and we grow up learning to judge ourselves. And most people never get off that hamster wheel of self-judgment, judging others, being afraid of judgment, judgy everywhere.
I think you're right. Just now when you said the judgment of the fear of that judgment.
Right.
Still, that again, fear being like the biggest problem. Fear is the bigger problem than even the judgment. Even if you have the judgment and you aren't afraid to be with your own judgment, I found that happening too when I was to module 5, where things are common. Like I've been through, you know, the deeper side and in the deep end of the pool here. And now it's like, oh, wait a minute. I can even have those, like, I can look at those judgments. And actually module 4 did discuss that a lot. Like you would realize these things about yourself and you didn't have to judge them. But then it became like, oh, but if you do have judgments, those weren't bad either. They weren't to be judged either. So judgments weren't to be judged.
Yes.
And so somehow the fear kind of dissipated because of that. Like, wait, I'm allowed to even look at my judgments that I find ugly and unappealing because they've gone unquestioned for so long. And now I'm questioning them, bringing them out into the light. And actually the judgments themselves disappear really fast when they're in the light and they're loved. It's like, oh, I don't need that anymore. So that cleans that out. But also the fear of judging myself for my judgment got to go away too. So yeah, I feel so much freer because of the light of all of this alignment on fear. It's just like you turn on the light in a room and the darkness disappears. That's what it feels like. It's like just alignment feeling this, my insides now being a safe place to go to feels like it's literally flicking on a light switch. So the fear is not there. It just disappears.
Right. You look at it, you send it some love, and then it naturally gets released.
That's amazing.
That's awesome. So many people are living with fear, crippling fear, anxiety, fear that they're afraid to look at, afraid of the fear, you know?
Yeah.
And they're, you know, so many people don't want to go to that place. They're unsure of what they might see. But like you said, all the other modules teach you about finding out who you truly are, appreciating the authenticity within yourself, finding self-love, acceptance. So by the time you get to that place to where you're called to look at the fears, they don't seem that scary anymore. And they just seem, like you said, like something kind of curious and interesting to look at. And you're like, oh, so that's how I've been doing things. And that's how I've been thinking. And that's been causing problems in these relationships. And oh, I can go ahead and let that go now because I don't really need that anymore. So it's about shedding all that is not you. So that's why it's been titled the way it has, uncovering your authenticity and inner peace. Because as you let go of everything that's been placed upon you that doesn't feel good anymore, you find your own authentic self. You find your own authenticity, which then leads you to feeling peaceful inside. And once you have that, the fears that you used to have, I mean, they're not there. They seem tiny and so minimal. And yeah, it just improves everything. And yeah, I'm so glad that that's one of the major things that you got out of this and that you were able to go as deep as you did. Oh, go ahead.
Well, just the fear itself is also allowed to stay. That's the other thing that was like, what? Like, okay, the judgment is allowed to stay and just be there and have coffee with me or whatever. And fear is too. So all of a sudden that changes things for me too, because I don't have to run from fear. Fear itself is just another one of the things I can learn from. Oh, hello, fear. You're here. I don't have to run from you. I don't have to be, you know, I'm seeing much less of you.
Yes, exactly.
But there are shadows of it still everywhere.
Yeah.
And it's okay. They can be there.
Yes. Some get really
bigger than that.
And then some crop up from time to time, but you're still able to work through them, to take inspired action anyway, and they don't have a hold on you anymore. So
exactly.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay.
So cool.
So do you feel that going through this course has given you a chance to see certain parts of yourself that you wouldn't have otherwise?
Definitely. For one thing, I'm liking myself again because I'm getting to know that, I guess, the little girl in me again, you know. That makes me want to cry.
Oh,
because yeah, that's pretty special because you know, we try to grow up and be everybody's everything and, you know, adapt and try to do all the right things, and sometimes we can lose that precious free self inside, you know, that really just enjoys creating and dancing around and believing everybody loves everybody and all that stuff, you know. And I feel like, wow, everybody else may or may not choose to love everybody, but I get to now. I get to love everybody exactly the way they are now because their stuff is about them, and I get to choose how close or far I stand to them. I get to choose where my boundaries are. I can have that loving light help create some emotional safety, so only bright light things can come close to me. The rest are going, ew, I don't want that. Perfect. There's just a lot of freedom right now, especially because I'm loving the sort of forever self of me, the, you know, the little girl on up through who's always just been there but became more and more neglected over the years. So that's been amazing.
That is so sweet and so special. And I think some people are even afraid to admit that they want something like that to happen. And it's a beautiful thing to touch back into that part of yourself.
It is.
Thank you for sharing that. You almost got me there. You really did. And this course, it goes deep, and it takes you deep into yourself, and you find a sense of self-love and self-care, and a way to cherish and honor yourself that, we're not taught to do, that somehow seems selfish to do, but it's not. It's a beautiful thing to find and reconnect to that again.
Yeah. And like what I said about my family noticing that, they're not noticing it because like, oh, you have a nice dress on. It's not like that. They're noticing it because I'm nicer to them, being around me for them, they appreciate it. So
yeah,
it's, it's who you show up as when you're safe for yourself and all of the rainbow of feelings that you have. That's pretty special. That's another thing that came up throughout the last couple of modules, is just this idea of like pictures in my head. So a rainbow is one of them, just this feeling of, wow, all the colors get to be there. I'm not banishing one of them. Oh, your fear. Oh, your judgment. Oh, you're not okay. No, even unworthiness. You can come sit down or come join the rainbow. But I also started thinking about an orchestra and how all the low notes get to join with all the high notes and the mid-range notes, and it creates something incredible. And then I was thinking of a tapestry on a wall with all the different textures and colors and shapes, and how it all creates something really, really beautiful. And I don't have to say, yeah, it's a beautiful tapestry, just don't look at this whole half, it's really hideous.
Yeah.
Like, stop it. The darks accent the lights, and it's all beautiful if you choose to look at it that way, and you allow space for that to all be there in symphony. One thing I just wanted to say is that you have been so intuitive, and I feel like you've introduced me to myself.
Oh my God, really?
Hey, Lynda, let me take you into your own world. It's like I sent you a message about how you feel like a soul guide sister, because it's like I'm in this safe, soulful, spiritual place now with myself in everyday life, but just kind of holding space. And as things come up, I'm looking at it more from that view. But it's because you've shown me that it's okay. This whole place is safe here. I get to meet other souls differently because we've had lots of talks about interacting with other people and ways of reframing things to bring back my power and not just give it away and react to everything. So I feel safe in my soul and sort of like bringing it out more. I feel like I spend a lot more time in everyday life. Before it felt separate, like, oh, soul time. That's like, oh, one of these days I'll sit and meditate for a few minutes and then I'll get to know my soul. It's like, no, it's actually invited right here. And you've shown me like, oh, look, Lynda, here's your soul. And here's the spiritual aspect, and here's how to tie it together. And here's everybody else's souls. And here's how we can hold space for them as well and love them, even if it's from a distance. Here's how we can have boundaries with their behaviors, even though we love them. Just all of that is feeling just sort of really present for me now in everyday life. So I just love that you're intuitive too with all that. You find where I'm not bringing my power and you point it out and help me stand up for myself. You're tough. You're sugar and light as well, but you are also strong, and you help me to be strong. I love that you're able to show me where I'm, you really can have strong boundaries on this situation that you're applying this all to. It's not all be a doormat for everybody. It's the opposite of that. You actually get to be a leader for the people around you, even the people that you're struggling with, people that are difficult. You still get to with your kindness and holding space for them and holding boundaries and not letting them get away with stuff that is, not okay with you. And then they start to have more respect. I've started to notice that I'm getting more respect from certain people that I've been dealing with.
That's
and
brilliant.
It's like, what? That's not what I expected. I thought they'd be mad. No, they're actually showing respect.
Because you stood in your power.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I kind of see you as like this Wonder Woman, Amazon, like you'd fit in just right on Paradise Island.
Oh, thank you so much. That is one of my favorite movies. And honestly, everything you've said just now, this is so meaningful to me. And you've just blessed me with a series of compliments that mean the world to me, because it really affirms that I'm living my purpose. I'm helping other souls to see who they truly are and show up as they want to and make the most of their life experience. And just to know that that's how you feel and that's how you see me, even if I do nothing else with my life, which won't happen, I will, but even if somehow I didn't, like, this tops the cake. I'm happy. Like, I'm thrilled. I'm thrilled with what you just said, and I'm going to cherish this moment in time forever. I accept with so much gratitude your words, and yeah, I'm honored. I'm truly honored at everything you just said, and all of it is even more proof that we were brought together for a reason. We've both been blessings to each other. And I'm so glad we met. I'm so glad you went through this experience. I'm so glad that you have such a way with words. Not only are you sharing with everyone how deep and transformative this process is, but you shared with me and everyone who's watching how much it's meant for you. And just knowing that I had a part to play in that is it's huge for me. It's huge for me. This affirms that I'm doing exactly what I'm supposed to be doing. When I created this course, it just flowed through me. I knew I had to create it. I knew what alignment had done for me. And I thought, I have to turn this into something for other people. I have to. And I just sat down at my computer and it all poured out of me, and I'm this step and this step and this step. And I don't know who I'm going to share it with yet, but the people who need it will come into my space at the right time. And that's exactly what happened with you. And
Shari. Oh,
yes.
And she was just like the perfect person. I was blessed to get to share part of her journey and watch her transform as well. And she was also interactive and helpful with beautiful insights for me. So
you guys
not only her example, but also her input was fantastic. So she was a huge part of it too.
Oh, I'm so glad. You guys were, I truly know and believe that you guys were meant to be in the same group together, because on similar wavelengths, going through somewhat similar things and kind of feeding off the feedback that I would give you for your individual things. We're helping, like, you could take it back into your life and think, oh, okay, Shari asked this question, and this is actually going to help me as I move forward with this person.
Yeah, you were able to bridge that because our circumstances were entirely different, and yet the lessons could relate to
the lessons,
both of our lives and all the things that we were dealing with. So that was just kind of just sort of bathed in the whole thing, we all just got to enjoy swimming in the same pool.
Exactly. Okay. Now, overall, do you feel more empowered to create experiences you want instead of being at the mercy of others or life itself?
Definitely. For all the reasons we've talked about.
Right.
This feeling of I'm safe with my fears. I'm safe with all my feelings. It's still baby steps for me a little bit because it's still new.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm actually kind of excited for each day now, because it's like, okay, I got this. but here it comes. It's kind of like a new tennis player. Okay, the ball's coming. You know how to hit it now.
Yeah.
You won't always hit it, and you won't always hit it where you want it, but you got it. This is how you're gonna stand, and this is what you're gonna look for, and you're starting to get the training. So I am looking forward to continuing using all these things and revisiting all these things, because this is huge. Because as this expands, and one good thing is I'm hoping you can't unring this bell. I'm just hoping that this amount of understanding and awareness already can't be undone, that it will only grow. That's what I'm counting on.
Yeah. And all the work is
deep.
It's deep, so it can be integrated deeply, and as you said already, the way you show up as a woman has changed. The way you show up as a wife, as a mother, as a business person, even with people with the tricky relationships, it's all changed. When someone brings you something that's stressful or annoying or frustrating, you respond instead of react. You look deeply at the situation instead of at the surface level, which is what used to happen before, which is what most people do. They only see about an inch below the surface of what they're experiencing in any given moment. They don't see the depth of it. They don't see it from the bird's eye view. They don't see the implications of their own behavior and the ramifications of their words. But now you see everything from a much wider perspective, with more wisdom, with more emotional intelligence and maturity, and it comes quickly to you. And like you said, even if you find yourself reacting, you notice that. And you say, hey, let me take a step back. Let me rearrange and reframe. And so, yeah, these are things that it doesn't happen just once. You learn it, you go through the exercises, you do the journaling and answering the questions. And then all of a sudden you're a changed person. Remember one of our last calls, we were saying, once you know, you can't unlearn it. And once you step into this role of being a teacher for others, you realize that you can set this great example and you can influence others in a positive way. And it's like, once you know, you just know. It doesn't go away. And of course you have access to it for life. You can always revisit it if you think, hey, what did she teach us about this? Say something gets fuzzy down the line. You can always dive right back in and go, yes, this is what came up for me then. Okay, I remember. So, all right. Now, yeah, that's the great thing. It's always there for you. It's always there to support you. So just you're so welcome. You're so welcome. 2 more questions. How would you describe what it means? So everyone has their own take. I've served plenty of clients to go through this process from all walks of life, and it means something different for each person. So for you, how would you describe what it means to come into alignment? What is it meant for you?
That I'm okay with myself, that I don't need everybody else's opinion. I don't have to take public opinion polls every time I make a decision. Yeah. And that other people don't know all the ins and outs of what's right for me the way I thought they did. I really thought that all the experts would know, but you pointed me right in, center. And I've started to understand that centered place is a lot more prepared than I thought, maybe because I've been with me my whole life. I've seen the things I've seen. I know all my circumstances. I know my hopes and dreams and what I want, even if I won't admit them to myself. I still am aware of all of that stuff. It's somehow in me. So at that deepest level, the more in tune with and aligned with that center that I get, the more, that's funny. I just felt like this extra fresh, deep breath in just as I said that. Just like right from my heart, it just feels like I am free to play and to be and do things my way and make mistakes and that's okay. I don't even have to judge those, but I can. And if I do, they all get to come to coffee and then I can just try things. And I'm not afraid now of my own fears about situations coming up. I'm not afraid of other people's judgments. And that's going to be really huge as we march forward with business, because, you know, you show up online and you're terrified that people are going to judge you. But if you're not judging you anymore and you're okay with other people judging you, then they don't even have to not judge you. It's okay. You can judge me. You can not judge me. It's all you. That's all you. You get to decide that. But for me, I'm going to be a safe place for myself. And if you want to come be, you can come be safe here too. If not, I will have strong boundaries. You can't treat me badly, because that's where that powerful Wonder Woman comes in, that says, oh no, you know, there's still a basic dignity and being proud of myself and taking care of myself. I don't have to just give away the store.
Right.
You know, go ahead and take everything from me and say what you want, and I'm just gonna, you know, just like bend and sway to all of that. But in a way I'm bending and swaying with a strength. You know, I'm unbreakable that way, because I know I can take a step back. I know I can put up boundaries. I can use the light. There are just so many tools I have now.
Yeah, setting boundaries, I remember, was something we discussed, and I'm glad you feel like you have that in your toolkit now, among all the other things. Yeah. So, unbreakable, that's an amazing word you used right now. I think a lot of
bendable.
Yeah, I think a lot of women, a lot of people
strong.
Wish they felt that way. And I love that this program and this experience has given you that. All right, so finally, what would you tell someone who is unsure of taking this course? What would you want them to know?
Wow. If you can take it with coaching, I'd say do that, number one, because that's been so invaluable to me, to actually be in your presence and have you intuitively see what I'm going through, and in just such a kind and gentle yet strong way, be able to mirror back things for me so that I can have a chance to really look at things and deal with things. And just all the ways that you support me. Like, if you can have that, I would say all the way, go with that. Totally. The lessons themselves, though, are amazing, but you need to really spend some time. There's just so much here that you're going to have to really take some time, and it's worth it. Totally worth it to dive deep and go through each lesson and just, you know, ask, okay, what can I learn from this? You know, sometimes it's hard to take it all in 1 week, you know, what we do in 1 week. It's because we have to be willing to open up and let things happen through, you know, incorporate things. So it is good that you get to take it year after year. But this is so life-changing, and it affects absolutely everything. It's foundational. It's the total foundation to home, romance, business. Romance, that's been another one. That it's been really nice for my husband and I in our relationship that I'm standing up for myself more now, in a really kind way. You know, I'm not needing to, like, you know, be naggy or anything or defensive. I'm just calmly standing up for myself, and I'm even able to explain that. Well, I'm working on standing up for myself, and this is why I'm reacting this way. just stand in it and say, yeah, I'm just learning, and I'm actually getting an attaboy. You know, my son actually said, "Good for you, Mom. You really stood up to me right there." I said, "Yeah, you know, you were kind of getting a little out of line there," and I just stood up for myself with kindness. And he's like, "You sure did." You know, that actually happened today.
I love that. I love that.
So honestly, it's been foundational, and I'll look back and think, how could my life have ever gone on without that? Like, it's such a pivotal thing, you know? It's like life before this experience, totally different than life after this experience. 100%. I am picturing, like, have you ever seen a picture of like a triangle or like a pyramid shaped prism? It's all clear glass and you see light going in, stream of light, and then rainbow coming out.
Yes.
It's like that. That's the picture I had in my head. Like before this is like, okay, you know, this is life here. And then boom, it's like all the colors get to show now. I get to be fully me and be okay with that. In fact, love it, be great with it. And then that makes me more accepting of everyone else. And then it makes me more brave so that I can be online and I don't need people to like me. But the ones that do will find me now because I'm not fearful and hiding and trying to be what different coaches think I should be.
Mm-hmm.
You know, a coach like you that sends me back to my deepest self, that's what I needed. I needed somebody to not tell me their method of how they, like, in a way, I mean, it's your method. You found a way to reach that in yourself, but it was in a way that you sent me back to myself the way you sent you back to yourself.
Yes.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
it was very different.
Yeah.
So it's not like ABC, do A, B, C, D, and, you know, then you'll have results. And even if it doesn't feel right, just keep doing it. And that's what I was doing before. And it just felt really harsh and not aligned. And so now I feel like whenever, especially in business, anything that comes up, I'm able to feel stronger about and trust. No, I know what it's like in some of these relationships now to feel aligned and have boundaries and look inward and accept all my feelings and therefore accept other people's choices and their boundaries and their behaviors and figure out where I want to stand compared to that. So I can do that same thing in business now. And all of a sudden I'm not a fish out of water in business. I'm just carrying that same me into these other kinds of relationships. They're still people and they still need, you know, respect and boundaries and love and, you know, and a place at my coffee table.
Right. Exactly. Well, thank you so much for everything that you shared just now, because it's huge. It's huge. You told me that alignment has changed every part of your life, every relationship, your relationship with yourself, your husband, your children, the people that have been giving you a hard time. And now moving forward with your business, you know where you want to go. You have brought a sense of playfulness to your choices and your decisions, and knowing that you're going to learn from it every step of the way. It's okay to change your mind, to redirect, but it's about the freedom that you have now, freedom to experience it. And I love, love, love your metaphor, the visual representation of the rainbow, the triangle with the rainbow. It's kind of like the Pink Floyd image is coming to mind.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. So I love that. I think we all could use a little more color and freedom and playfulness in our life. So yeah, you said it perfectly. There's nothing I could possibly say that could add to that. So yeah, this has been a phenomenal interview. I'm thrilled that you agreed to come on and talk to me about this. What a disservice it would have been to the world had we not shared you and your wonderful way of explaining this. I mean, I'm blown away. I'm going to be grinning from ear to ear for the rest of the evening and probably the rest of the week. I wasn't kidding when I said you made my month with everything you've told me today. I feel deeply blessed and deeply honored to have had you be a part of this group session and to get to teach you these things and to get to, as you said, lead you back to yourself. I think so many people are missing that in their lives, and it's a beautiful thing to get to experience. And I want to thank you for sharing your experience.
Yes. Thank you so much. And as you know, I'll reveal that this has all happened these past 4 months during losing my mother. So the challenges were huge. They were probably some of the biggest of my life. So having this amazing course to come back to every week and to be able to meet with you and Shari and just have this grounding experience and ways of looking at things that gave me that freedom, you know, that helped me release things, has been incredible. So it's actually helped me with my healing journey as all of that happened. And so leading up to my mom's passing, caring for her, as well as everything that's happened since then, you've been there to support me and give me love and hold space, and I will always treasure that. And yeah, getting a little emotional. This has been my heart through all of this. So thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. And like I said, I'm honored that I could fill that role, that I could hold space for you, that I could offer you love and guidance and lessons and information on how to empower yourself, set those boundaries while remaining true to who you are, while discovering even more of who you are. And I can't think of anybody that deserved it more, honestly. And yeah, as far as I'm concerned, you are a part of my life, you know, from 4 months ago, moving forward. I almost said from this moment on, but from the moment we met, you know, you have a place in my life and in my heart, and I hope you know that.
So everybody, if you're watching this later on, you realize the kind of coach this is? Somebody who just truly can get in there and help you deal with the deep stuff, but in such a loving, kind, empowering way. It's worth absolutely signing up and spending time and investing fully. Dive in and get the most out of it. I did, and I am so glad I did, as you probably can tell by now.
I am so glad you did too. I mean, star student, shining rainbow star student. That's my new nickname for you. Well, thank you so much again. I think we should go ahead and cut it here because it doesn't get any better than this, honestly. So
all right,
thank you again, Lynda, so much. And
bye, Maliha.
Bye. I will see you soon next time we speak, okay? Thank you again.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.